Well, I'm doing a lecture about the Bible Belt and critical race theory. It's July the 16th, and it's you know where I.S.U.P.K is out here? Yeah, it's like we got a school like right next door, and then the top floor we got that whole level up there. So that's why I'll be doing the lecture. And it's free. Like the first hour will be about the Bible Belt, then be like a little intermission, you know, feeding people a little bit. Then I'll be breaking down what critical race theory is, because a lot of our people don't know what it is.
I'm Dr. Ashley Balknight-Claybrook.
So we dealing with a doctor, right?
I have to say it. I don't know. I would say it has to help. You know?
You got anything to back that up, or you just guessing?
I'm just guessing.
So sis, what is the Bible Belt to you?
The Bible Belt is a series of states that heavily focus on Christianity as a means of political and social foundations for everything they do.
Good, because you should always know where you come from. You should always know history. You should always know what it is and what it ain't. And why people act the way they act now.
The Bible Belt, do you feel that it hurts black people? Kind of like get rid of the history, get rid of certain things that were done during slavery, or just certain things about our history in schools and stuff like that.
It's cultural, it's environmental, and it's effective.
Okay, you say it's effective now?
It can be positive and it can be negative. It just depends on your standpoint.
Preacher man, gotta wait your turn. Gotta get my brothers and sisters. They survive my only concern. This shit has gotta stop. They lock and pop everything they see. Behind a badge of police, they kill us with their knees. Nigga, please.
We look at systemic racism of, say, the school systems, the differences in the school systems, and looking at gentrification, looking at issues of textbooks, even as simple as textbooks, and how race plays a part in how people are selecting certain parts for different races depending on where they are. You throw in economics with that as well. All that is tied into, if you can show a pattern of systemic racism, that is critical race theory.
I say critical race theory, it needs to be taught in school. I think just to know what was done to us, but like a lot of people don't know about slavery. They don't know what was done during their time.
I think it hurts because I think we should, know our culture and, not be racist, you know what I'm saying?
It's a psychodrama. Our minds, they wanna melt. We got it, take my nigga shit, burn that Bible Belt. This is psychodrama. Our minds, they wanna melt. We got it, take my nigga shit, burn the Bible Belt.
All right, let's clap it up. Shalom, DC, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yahanna. Since 1969, we've been teaching the truth of the Bible. And the truth is that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and First Nations people are the true Jews, according to the Bible, and that our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. We are not affiliated with any other Christian organization or Israelite group out there. We are the home of the truth. We stand alone. There's a big reason why we always say that at the beginning of every one of our speakings, every one of our classes, is because the Lord only works with one body. He only approves of one body. So whenever someone out there, Christian organization, Hebrew Israelite group, goes out there and says you're not the only one with the truth, you're calling the Most High a liar, and you don't believe in how the way the Most High operates. Right? What we're going to get into tonight. Is how jealousy and envy almost destroyed a nation. And you're going to see how the way the similarities, if anybody knows the story of 1 West, of the prominence it once held, and how jealousy damn near tore it down to the ground. And the Most High had to start all over with genuine and brotherly brothers. You know what I'm saying? And Commanding General Yahanna, raising up all the generals and all the captains that you see before you. and all the officers and all the troopers and all the brothers and all the sisters. Right? He had to. It was once I was here. I heard tale of going to camp and you being, considerably high rank, officer of 5,000, you're not even been able to speak because there was so many brothers in there. You know what I'm saying? So you didn't even get a chance to speak at camp because it was so prominent. I heard tales of back in the 90s and before the 2000s how huge the school was. You know what I'm saying? And then it got torn down because of jealousy and envy and strife. When the Most High said, what is it, Matthew? It's like Matthew 18 and 15. We said, if you got an issue, go to that brother. Tell that brother you got an issue with him, and then work it out. If he doesn't hear you, if he hears you, you gain him, brother. If he doesn't hear you, then there's other protocols in order to hash that out. But a lot of times, none of that happened. None of that happened. It definitely doesn't happen in the world. It damn sure doesn't happen in a Christian church. There's one place it does happen. It happens here. Why? Because if any hint of that unbrotherly type of vibe goes on, is being dealt with right then and there. Right then and there is being dealt with. And why? Because if we do not learn our history, we're doomed to repeat it. We are doomed to repeat it. We're going to go into exactly when just one of the times, jealousy could have caused this nation, being a nation. Get me Genesis chapter 37. We're going to start at verse 1, Genesis 37.
So come. Genesis chapter 37, verse 1. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan.
So right here at this point in time, we're talking about Jacob. We're talking about Jacob, who was the progenitor of the 12 tribes, whose name was later changed. Well, at this time, his name is Israel. He already has his name, but they called him Jacob, right? So Jacob is synonymous with Israel, right? He dwelt in Hamland. That's where he dwelt. That's where he was. That's where his father was. His father was Isaac, right? We did not have a land of our own at that time. At that time, do you know why we did not have a land of our own?
Because we were the youngest nation.
Well, we had a land of our own before that.
Because we were in captivity.
We wasn't in captivity just yet. It's Jacob. Jacob wasn't in captivity. His sons were. His later on, his family was, but not at this time. Well, who's Jacob? Who's his father?
Isaac.
Who's his father?
Abraham.
Right? All right. Now, if you go back in the lineage, who in our lineage, who had a land of their own? When you look at that, just those three men.
Abraham.
Nah, he didn't. But you go back further.
No.
Further. Adam had a land of his own. And what happened there?
The Most High destroyed everybody, so there was nobody claiming land.
No. With Adam, the Most High destroyed everybody when Adam was around?
Not when Adam was around.
What happened between Adam and Jacob, where Adam had land, had a home of his own, but his lineage didn't at that time, up until Jacob? What happened? No sweat, no sweat, no sweat, no sweat. What happened was we had a woman who decided to listen to someone other than her husband. That's what we had. And then we had a man of the house who was not who was living up under his woman, because his woman did it. Now he gonna have to go ahead and do it. Like, all right, well, since you're doing it, let me go ahead and do it with you. When he was supposed to check that woman, hey, you weren't supposed to be doing this. I told you weren't supposed to be doing this, and that's it. I shouldn't have to say God told us, not to do it. I told you not to do it. So because of that, if you could, Bob, you can give me a paper towel. Because of that, Eve sinned. She disobeyed her Lord, which was Adam. Right? Adam could have stopped it right there. Adam could have stopped it right there, and the Most High would have given him someone else. He would have rectified the situation, right? But no, he had to follow up on his woman, and then he sinned as well. The Most High told him not to do it, and the Most High told him to put his house in order. He didn't do that. So because he didn't do that, he wasn't in order. He kicked him and his family out of the land of our land, which was the Garden of Eden, which was the land of Israel. And it wasn't, if you look at the map, it's not what Israel is today, because Israel is compared to what the Bible, the scripture says it is. Israel today, that landmass is like a city. It's like a city compared to what our land is. All that oil money, all that Arab money, all that those lands all over there is in between 4 rivers. All of that is Israel. All of that was the Garden of Eden, right? All of it. And now, today they claimed a little sliver of land that's right next to Egypt. No, that's not biblical. That's not what the according to the Most High. That's not our land. All of that whole region is ours, right? Now, but back to what I was saying. We didn't have a land. That's why he was, living in the land of Canaan. Why? Because we were kicked out. We weren't going to return until after we come out of captivity and wandered the desert, for a time. Let's continue on reading.
Come. Genesis chapter 37, verse 2. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more than...
Wait, hold on. Say that last part again.
Come. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report.
So it's saying how Joseph was basically snitching. He was snitching on his brothers, right? There's a reason why Joseph was Israel's favorite son. There was a reason. One of the reasons why was because he basically told his brothers, like, hey, Judah over here, doing this. He always get into fights. You know what I'm saying? Levi over here, he hating on Simeon, and Simeon hating on Levi. They can't stand each other. You know what I'm saying? It's a car, he say he work a lot, but he just up under the tree, just having a siesta. Asher over here just chasing women. He can't do nothing but just chase women. That's all he doing. So I'm not saying that's what he was saying, but all the bad things that his brothers was doing, he was running back and telling his father. So he was like the tattletale, you know what I'm saying? And how you think his brothers felt about that? They, shit. It's like, oh man, here comes Joseph. Man, put that cigarette out. They ain't supposed to be smoking. I'm not saying they smoking, but every bad thing that they was doing, Joseph found out and told his father. Like, damn, maybe we can't have no fun. Joseph around. He gonna go back and run tell Pops. You know what I'm saying? Hey, cut this out. Joseph coming. Hey, what's up, Joseph? Like, nah, we ain't doing nothing. We just tending the father's business. You know, we ain't doing nothing. When you about to leave? You about to head out?
Hey, what you about to do?
Yeah, what you about to do? What you about to get into? Right. You ain't gonna get into nothing? All right, well, we ain't gonna get into nothing. So it got to that point where they hated his brother. They hated their brother. They couldn't stand him. Why? Because he was telling on them. When in fact they shouldn't have just been doing it in the first place. You wouldn't have to. I remember when I first came into the truth, and they said, I heard brothers in here always say, I ain't scared of cops. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because I ain't doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing in order for them one to pull me over. All right, now maybe they do pull me over, but all my stuff is good. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't got nothing to fear. And even if they do pull me over and they do start a beef, the Most High is on my side. You know what I'm saying? So I really have nothing to fear. This is what these men should have been like. They shouldn't have nothing to fear. They shouldn't have nothing to hate about Joseph because they shouldn't have been doing evil. They shouldn't have been doing wicked. It said that Joseph always gave the wicked report of his brothers to his father. They shouldn't have been doing those things to have been reporting. They should have been doing good things so that he can report back to their father what they were doing, right? Keep reading.
Come. Verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children.
Right.
Because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a coat of many colors.
See, right there. He was the son of his old age. That goes to show you that Israel, as a nation, we still be having babies when we old. We still have kids, challenge. We still be having them challenge when we old. And for some reason, if anybody who has, siblings, they always know that the youngest always gets away with murder. You know what I'm saying? Always gets away. It seems like the brunt of the responsibility is on the older ones, and the younger ones, it seems like they got free reign. And it seems like the parents love the kids, the youngest, the most. That's what it seems like. But in this case, he actually says, yeah, it was his favorite son. It was his favorite son. Keep going.
Come. Verse 4. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him.
They hated this dude. Even though that was their brother, their baby brother. A lot of times when you have siblings and whatnot, the younger ones look up to the older ones. And how hard is it for, a young one to look up to the older ones, and the older ones hate you? You know what I'm saying? Your older brothers hate you. They can't even say a good thing about the brother. If they have an issue with him, go to thee and thee alone. Tell them. Just because that specific wordage came out in the New Testament doesn't mean that wasn't in effect in Israel's time. You know what I'm saying? Just because it came out in the New Testament doesn't mean it wasn't in effect in the Old Testament. If you got an issue with your brother, go to him and talk to him about it. Tell him you have an issue with, hey man, why you always snitching on us, yo? Why you doing this? What is it gaining you? What is it profiting you to snitch on us? Why do you want to? Why you brown nose? Why you have your? Why is it like that? Why? We all are offended that you're doing this. You know what I'm saying? Go and talk to him and hash it out. Well, it's because you you never include me in your stuff. Whenever y'all go out and play basketball or whatever, y'all never take me. Whenever y'all want to go out and barbecue and have a cookout, I ain't invited. I just got to find out about it, 2 or 3 days later, whenever y'all have a feast or something like that. Whenever y'all over there playing dominoes, when y'all playing 2K, I ain't invited. I like 2K. I like dominoes. Why you ain't inviting me? Well, all right, my bad. We'll try and include you more if you try stop snitching on us. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is just talk it out. That's your brother. And it's not like there's so many distractions as we have distractions here today. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like there's so much distance in between each other. You know what I mean? The world was a lot smaller back then. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody was in, close proximity to each other. We only mess with our family. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't hard for us to get in contact with each other. It wasn't hard for us to communicate with each other. But for some reason, these brothers hated their youngest sibling so much that they plotted on this brother and did some evil, wicked things to this brother. Right? Keep going.
Come. Verse 5. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brethren, and they hated him yet the more.
So this dude had a dream. Now, after all this happened, he's gonna explain the dream. He had 2 dreams. We're gonna explain what this dream was. But now they thinking, this nigga's getting out of hand, yo. So you think your dreams won't come true? ain't that something? A lot of that stuff, they say if you have a dream, don't tell it to your close friends and family. Why? Because they're gonna crap on it. They're gonna poo-poo all over your dreams and whatnot. Just because you want to aspire to do something else, or you aspire to do something great, because they can't see it happening, they're gonna poo-poo all over it. And we're gonna get into this dream right here, where I'm like, really, nigga, really, nigga, really. So they hated him once he told them this dream. Even his father felt a certain type of way. Like, you serious? You serious? Let's read what his dream was.
Come. Verse 6. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. Verse 7. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field,
right?
And lo, my sheep arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheep.
What does that mean, obeisance to my sheep?
This is the old way of saying obedience.
Let's look it up. Look up that word. I don't think I've ever heard that word before, honestly. But I know what they're saying. I know what they're saying. It's obeisance. OBEISANCE.
Come. Obeisance. A bow made to show respect or submission.
A bow made to show respect or submission. So basically, he said he had a sheep. His rose high, and theirs were bowing down to his sheep. So he was saying he had a dream where he was above all his brothers, and they were serving him. They were lower than him. That's what his dream was, and they hated him for that. Like, nigga, you serious? You the youngest? You 17 years old. You're a babe. You're a kid. You're a child, and you're gonna say we are gonna bow to you? You ain't done nothing. You ain't gonna do nothing. There is no way, shape, or form that is going to happen. We're going to get rid of you before any of that stuff ever happens. That's what he's saying. That's what their intentions were. But he straight up said, hey, look, I had a dream, and all y'all was bowing to me. I was raised high, and y'all were bowed to me. Let's keep on going.
Come. Verse 8. And his brethren said to him, shalt thou indeed reign over us?
So he's saying, really, you gonna be over us? You gonna be risen up above us? You gonna be king over us? Who died and made you king? And we hear that in our community a lot. Who died and made you king? This is what he's saying. Keep going.
Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us?
So you're gonna have power over us. You're gonna be king over us. You're gonna have power over us. Okay, keep going.
And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words.
And how many times did this say that they hated him? They said it quite a few times. It's not just from, we're only in eight verses, and they said over and over and over that they hated him. It's not the first time that they say they hated their brother. What has he done? All right, yeah, okay. He told on you. He's telling, not told on, he's telling on y'all. He's telling on y'all. Stop doing whatever it is y'all doing, right? And the father is favoring him because he's the babe. He's the youngest, right? And then he comes around and has this dream where he's gonna be exalted over his brothers. Exalted over his brothers. All right, keep going.
Come. Yeah, it's lucky, sir. 3 times so far.
It said at least 3 times in 8 verses. They said that they hated him. Keep going.
Come. Verse 9. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said. So
he's immediately he's young. He's young and he's impressionable. He had a dream. He's excited that he had this dream, and he wants to tell his family. He wants to tell his brothers. He obviously still looks up to them because he doesn't get it through his head that his brothers hate him for the first dream that he had, and they hate him for the other stuff, for their father loving him more than they love the other brothers, from the elders down to whoever's older than Joseph. Saying that now he's telling them another dream. There's more along the lines of it. Keep going. But he's excited about it. He's excited. He's like, man, let me tell you about this. And for all intents and purposes, it's just a dream. Like, hey, I can't just have a dream. I can't just be ruler of the world in my dreams for them little 8 hours that I'm sleeping. It's just a dream. It's not like they're saying, any of this stuff is coming true. They could have just treated it as that. Man, he's just dreaming. He's just a boy. He doesn't know anything about the world. He's just dreaming. And they could have just carried it that way. But no, they took this serious. They took this real. They took this to heart. Keep going.
Come. Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon, and the 11 stars made obeisance to me.
So he said again, the sun and the moon, which represented his father and his mother, and the 11 stars, which represented his 11 brothers, were all subservient to him. All subservient to him. He was ruler over. He was made to rule over them. Now, surely this, he did it again. He had this dream again, and he's going around bragging about it. He's telling everybody, "Hey, this is what happened. I had this dream." Let's keep reading. Let's see what's going on. What's the goings on?
Come. Verse 10. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him.
He checked him. He was like, "Hey, little nigga, what the hell are you talking about? What? I'm going to bow down to you? You know who you talking to? You think you're going to do this to me? In my Denzel voice. Nah. Let's go.
God. And said unto him, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth?
You serious? You saying all of our whole family is going to bow down to you? Like, who is you? You just a boy. You still got, I still smell Similac on your breath. Your ears are still wet. Like, you serious? I'm going to bow down to you. Okay. 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 Salakia. Yeah, I got something for you. Where was I? Read it from the top again. Salakia.
God. Verse 10. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him and said unto him, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? So
you saying we're gonna bow down to you? You just a pup. You're a whelp. You saying we're gonna bow down to you? Is this what you saying? You saying because you dreamt this that this is going to happen? This is what you're telling us. And they got sorely offended. Everybody, from his father down to the second youngest son. All of them got offended. Right? Keep going.
Verse 11. And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same.
So his father was like, all right. So his brother's like, yo, I don't like this. This nigga's getting out of pocket. And honestly, really, how can you help your dreams? You have no control over your dreams. You go to sleep, you do your little REM thing, whatnot, and it just comes to you. And it just comes to you. 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10 is absolutely nothing. It's just a movie, an imagination thing, most of the time. But that 1 time out of 10 is actually the Most High saying, hey, this could happen or this will happen. Precept.
Sorry, sir. Is it dealing with Jacob? One dealing with Jacob, where he wrestled the angel.
Pull it. But that's, that it could be there, but that's not where I'm going. Here it is. All right, okay. Yeah, pull that. What you got?
Come. Genesis chapter 32, verse 25. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. Verse 26. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. Verse 27. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. Verse 28. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. Verse 29. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. Verse 30. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. Verse 31. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him.
Nah, that doesn't say where it says, you know, the Most High will talk to you in your dreams. Or does it? Does it say it before it? No. Give me Numbers 12. Give me Numbers chapter 12. Start at verse 5. Wait, hold on. Start at 4.
Numbers chapter 12, verse 4. And the Lord spake suddenly unto Moses, and unto Aaron, and unto Miriam, come out of ye three unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out.
So the Most High came down and spoke to all three of them. Say, hey, y'all come on outside. And that's exactly what they did. They separated themselves from the congregation, from the people. And this right here should if anybody who's in a position to check somebody, there is a time and a place to check somebody in front of everybody. But just right here, just like what the Most High is doing, we should do what the Most High does. You know what I'm saying? Just do that. He said, "Come out away from the congregation." He's about to check them real good. And the reason why they're saying is because Miriam and Aaron are his brother and sister, are Moses' brother and sister, and they're checking him for having a Hamite wife. And they say, "Now you should leave her alone and get with one of your people. Get with one of your people." The Most High is so adamant about keeping the institution of marriage together that he said he's going to check Miriam and Aaron for even suggesting getting rid of his Ham wife. He didn't know who the Most High was when he got married. You know what I'm saying? He didn't. And this is a precept as to how the UBK operates. They're not telling you to go ahead and divorce your if you have a rib, or if you're a woman, if you have a husband who's not of Israel, we're not saying get rid of him. Chances are, if you're in here, they're going to want to get rid of you. That's the honest to God truth. That's the honest to God truth. You in here, they're going to do anything that they can to get the hell away from you. You ain't got to get rid of them. Just keep serving the Most High. And if the unbeliever chooses to stay, then let them stay. If they choose to leave, let them depart. But do not get rid of them. And this is what the Most High is saying to Miriam and Aaron. Keep reading.
Verse 5. And the Lord came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. So
he's talking directly to them right here. And here's the precept of what I was talking about. Keep reading.
Verse 6. And he said, hear now my word.
Now listen to me good. I'm telling you this face to face. I'm talking to yous twos. Listen to my words right now. Keep going.
Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision.
Right.
And I will speak unto him in a dream.
Right. Boom. Right there. There's your precept that says, he says, if there be a prophet among you. So he's not just talking to anybody and everybody. That's what the women in the Christian church have to say. Well, God done told me this. God done told me that. Nah. Nah. There are times historically in the Bible where the Most High has talked to women. There are times. Don't get it twisted. There are times, but nah. Nah. And you know what they did?
They told their husbands.
Right. They and if they didn't have a husband,
they told their fathers.
They told the man of the Lord. They told a prophet, an ordained prophet, a true prophet who can discern these scriptures. And that prophet said, okay, that's just wishful thinking. That's just whatever it is that you think you want, that you want to do. And you're putting it on the Most High and say, hey, the Most High told you to do this. No, the Most High did not tell you to do that. Or he could say, you know what? You're right. Israel, we need to gird up our loins and we need to defend our nation. But you will never know until you actually go to the man of the Most High and tell him what you think you know. That's all. That's all. But he basically checked them. He gave Miriam leprosy for coming out her face and saying some nonsense like that. He went and gave Miriam leprosy for suggesting that Moses leave his wife, leave his rib. It was almost a permanent thing. And what happens with people with leprosy? No, they don't get stoned. They get taken away. They have to be separated from Israel forever. Not forever, until they become clean again. So it was going to be permanent, but Moses pleaded and begged it with the Most High and said, just let her be out of camp for the appointed amount of time, and then let her come back in. Most High was like, all right, cool. Basically, in layman's terms. So she had leprosy for a short time. She had to get out of the camp and be all by herself for a period of time until the leprosy was cleansed from her body, and then she was able to return to the camp, to the congregation, up into a nation. But that was just for suggesting. That was just for suggesting evil in the sight of the Most High. Let's keep going. Let's go back. So we had Joseph had a dream, 2 dreams at this point in time, where he said his brothers was going to bow down to him. And then the second dream, he said where his parents and his brothers were going to bow down to him. His brothers hated it. And his father was like, you know what? Since I am the man of the Lord, I know there could be some truth to it. That's why you read that last verse, verse 11.
Oh, come. Genesis chapter 37, verse 11. And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same.
He studied it. He was like, you know what? Maybe it might be some truth to it. I don't know how. I don't know when. I don't know the circumstances that will bring this about, because we good right now. We good. We flush. We don't see any troubles in the horizon. I don't see how we gonna have to bow to him. But he says so. I'm gonna have to take it with a grain of salt. Let's keep reading.
Come. Verse 12. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. Verse 13. And Israel said unto Joseph, do not thy brethren feed the flock of Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him,
what is it saying right there?
Israel, aka Jacob, is talking to his youngest son Joseph. He's asking him, hey, your big brothers, they're the ones that feed the flock in Shechem. So hey, come in. I'm going to send you. I'm going to let you go over there and feed the flock with them.
Well, he's basically saying, yo, they over there out there working. Why you ain't out there working with them? Why you ain't working? Basically, what you doing? Going on out there and help you and help your brothers with the work. Keep going.
Come. And he said to him, Here am I.
And he said, yeah, all right, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do the work. I ain't scared. I ain't never scared. Come on. I ain't scared of some work. Let's go.
Verse 14. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out to the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem.
Right.
Verse 15. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou?
So he was out there and he was looking for his brothers, and he looked lost. So someone came up to him and said, hey, what, you look lost. What you looking for? Maybe I can help. Right? Keep going.
Verse 16. And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. Verse 17. And the man said, They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan. Verse 18. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him.
So right here, Dothan. There's a place in America called Dothan, and it's in Alabama, Dothan, Alabama. It's a small little hick town that breeds, and how do I know this? Because I know some people that's from there, and just the spirit of Dothan. What the evil things that they conspired in the Bible is the same kind of spirit that's in that place today. That's in that place today. Thousands and thousands and thousands of years later. So they conspired to slay a black man. They conspired to slay to put another black man in chains in slavery. We're going to get to that. Keep going.
Verse 19. And they said one to another, Behold, this dreamer cometh.
So look at this nigga. This nigga coming. This dreaming ass nigga coming, right? It's not funny. It's not funny. But yo, they talking bad about him. They saw this nigga far off and like, now, man, let's kill this nigga. Ain't nobody out here. We don't have to say we saw him. He could have just been eaten up by lions. Father's old. He ain't gonna come out here and see for himself. Let's just kill this dreaming ass nigga and be done with it. Let's do this. Let's do this. Keep going.
Verse 20. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him and cast him into some pit, and we will say some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams.
Yeah, now we're gonna see what become of his dreams. Now, like I said, a dream is just a dream. Like, come on, you really gonna kill somebody over their dreams? Over their dreams? But people do die over their dreams, not being able to attain it. People not believing in them. Dreams are powerful in terms of, I ain't gonna say want to desire, but it gives you some sort of aspiration. You know what I'm saying? Because I have some dreams right now that when the Most High sends Christ back, I'm gonna have some lavish stuff, some lavish parties, a labor force that is out of this world that will get me all the things that I need, and can't nobody in this world tell me how bad my dream is or not. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep reading. Let's keep reading.
Verse 21. And Reuben heard it, And he delivered him out of their hands and said, let us not kill him. Verse 22. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again.
All right. So Reuben thinks he has a better plan. So he said, we're not going to kill him. What we're going to do is just going to put him in this pit, and this is how we're going to do it. Just like now, or I would say, a few decades ago, how people who say they were Commanding General Yahanna's brother were plotting and conspiring against him. This is the very same way how they absolutely hated him for what? And I'm not saying Commanding General Yahanna had any dreams and told any of the I.S.U.P.K that they were going to bow to him. Nah, that's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying was only thing Commanding General Yahanna was doing was building this nation up righteously. That's all he was hated for. He was hated for building up this kingdom righteously, holding brothers accountable, and being a brother to all the people that hated him. And what did? They conspired against him. They conspired against him. It had to be Commanding General Yahanna for them to do what they did to him. Because if it was anybody else, I don't know. I can't say that, man, the shoulders Commanding General Yahanna has is the strongest shoulders I've ever seen on a man. You know what I'm saying? The things that he's been through. Like if you just sit around and hear some of the captains and the generals talk, man, the things this brother Commanding General Yahanna has been through. He is a giant, literal and figuratively. He is a giant. He is my undisputed world heavyweight champion in this truth. You know how some people say, 5-time undisputed. Well, you have to have lost 5 times, 4 times, whatever, and then win it. He is 1-time undisputed, undefeated. He may have gotten knocked down a few times, but he always got back up for this truth. Why? Because it needed to be done. And not only that, man, the people who claim to have been his brothers, claim to have been said that they had his back, claim to have said that they're willing to kill and die for him. All of them turned their back on him at one point in time, until Commanding General Yahanna raised up all the generals and all the captains and all the officers and all the troopers that are in the school and all the sisters that are in the school today. Imagine that. You go into war week in, week out for years. He's been in the truth since 83. And the school split up. I ain't gonna say broke up. The school split up in like early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. That's decades. Imagine you going to war with brothers that say they have your back for decades. Over a decade and a half. Let's just call it like that. That would break a lot of people. Have them untrustworthy of people in general. And say, just screw that, I ain't dealing with it no more. And then for him to go out and do the things that that needed to be done to build the school up to what it is right now, he is a giant. Like I said, undisputed heavyweight champion. And it's all because of people who hated him for doing the things that he was supposed to be doing. Being a brother, waking up the lost of our people, teaching us how to be righteous. That's what he was hated for. And if the things that that happened to Commanding General Yahanna was bad, just think about the things that happened to Christ. He got betrayed by a brother who was with him since the beginning. You had some?
Just two sayings just popped to my head.
Let me hear it.
The originator, never the imitator. And you can't copy respect.
You can't copy respect. You can't copy respect. You have to be a giant. You have to be a man of great stature and great character and dignity to do the things that Commander General Yahanna has done. If it had not been for Commander General Yahanna, I don't know where in the hell I would be. I don't know where I would be. And Commander General Yahanna had some people that had some fake people that was right by his side or said they had his back, just like Joseph had some fake people that said that he had his back, but they really conspired against him and hated him. We're gonna continue on reading what happened to Joseph. We all know what happened with Commander General Yahanna. He stayed strong, he stayed diligent. You know what I'm saying? He stayed in this truth and taught us how not to be traitors, how not to be cowards, how to be brotherly. If we have an issue with one another, we go to one another. If we can't hash it out between ourselves, then we involve men of greater stature to settle our differences and then move on. That's something these brothers here we're reading about did not do. But you know what? The Most High took this opportunity and made Joseph's dream come true. We're gonna see how. We're gonna see exactly how. And you know what? Joseph was well within his rights to be a little bi and be like, nah, screw them niggas. Them niggas sold me into slavery. He had the opportunity, he had the right to do that. Like, you know what? But you know, he was still the bigger man. After he was enslaved, they didn't even let's continue reading. Let's continue reading. And then we'll see where we are when we get there.
Genesis chapter 37, verse 23. And it came to pass when Joseph was unto his brethren that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. Verse 24. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it.
So they trying to kill. They really trying to kill this dude. No water. You know, there's a rule of three. I don't think you've ever heard of this. Rule of three. You need 3 minutes. 3 minutes without air, you die. 3 days without water, you die. 3 weeks without food, you die. The body just can't take that, right? And Christ went 40 days without food or water. Has anybody ever tried to fast for 3 days? No food, no water? Man, that is a marathon. That's tough. Just trying to go 3 days. Christ did it for 40. Christ did it for 40 and came out stronger for it. Right? You had something?
The first time I celebrated the Day of Atonement, that 24 hours. That 24 hours, I was calling, asking for some strength. It was tough, but I made it through.
Yeah. The first time you do a Day of Atonement, man, that ain't no joke. It ain't no joke. 24 hours is no joke at all. But just how the way you going through that's exactly what we need. That's exactly what we need. We need to remember the sacrifice that was given. We need to atone for all the crap that now just think. The Most High could say, y'all niggas ain't going a week without food or water. If he said we gotta do it, we gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? But he only asked for 24 hours. He only asked for 10%. You know what I'm saying? He only asked for 1 day for you to rest. And somehow, some way, we come up with so many excuses to not do the things that he tells us to do. That's another subject. Keep reading here. They threw him in a pit with no water. Like I said, you can't go too long without water. You can't go too long without water. Keep going.
Come. Verse 25. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt.
So these brothers, and I use that term very loosely, through their blood brother, who they seen from a babe up till now, and they hated him all the while, threw him in a pit with no water, and they just sat down and ate bread. Like, all right, we did it. It's time to eat. Let's break out the lunch. You know what I'm saying? Break it out. We're gonna eat. We're gonna celebrate. This is how we're doing. And then as they were eating, they seen a caravan of Arabs coming. I was like, you know what? This is our way to get rid of him for good, right here. And this is the plan that they devised up. Keep going.
Come. Verse 26. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Verse 27. Come, let us sell him to the Israelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. So
Judah told him, like, hey, we shouldn't kill him. He's our brother. We're gonna kill him and then hide the fact that we did it. The blood is gonna be on our hands, whether we physically see it, but blood is gonna be on our hands. However, if we sell them to Ishmaelites, to them Arabs, and they kill him, well, we ain't got nothing to worry about because we didn't do it. You see the wrong that they think, the justification that they're given to harming their brother. They say if they can just sell him to another man and they let them do away with him. Nah, man. They wasn't brotherly at all. And because of that, this could have destroyed their nation. Almost destroyed their nation. Just like with Commanding General Yahanna. The brothers who said that they were brothers to him turned their backs on him. All ganged up on him, and cast him to the side. And rose somebody else up who was undeserving. But Commander General Yahanna has stuck with the principles that he was taught. And that's it's kind of funny. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny. They was raised in the same house. When I say raised in the same house, I'm talking about the umbrella of I.S.U.P.K. All the brothers that turned on him was raised up under I.S.U.P.K., up under the 7 heads. They got the same teachings that Commander General Yahanna got. These brothers got the same teachings that Joseph got. But yet Joseph didn't do what they did to him. In the end, Commander General Yahanna is not holding a grudge against any of them. As a matter of fact, he told everybody, he's like, hey, everybody who was up under the umbrella, you have a home. You can come back. All you got to do is humble yourself. Just humble yourself and come back. He is not holding a grudge against you. He is not going to bring you up on Black Watch and say, this brother had my back when I was, back in the 80s and the 90s, and then he turned on me. But you know, he went through hell, and now he's not going to do any of that. He's going to welcome you back with open arms and love you and show you brotherhood. And show you brotherhood just like he showed me brotherhood, just like he showed him brotherhood, just like he's showing all the brothers and sisters in here brotherhood. He's not gonna stab you in the back. He's not gonna throw shade on you, because that's not what he does. And honestly, all these stories about the people that turned on him, I've never ever heard him say a bad word about any of them. Any of them. For the most part, honestly, I really hear from him, coming from his mouth, he still holds them and he holds us in better regard, but he still holds them in a high regard, I would say, to a certain extent. But I've never heard Commander General Yahanna badmouth any of the traitors that betrayed him. Anybody. So for you to think that you don't have a place in here, you most definitely have a place in here. Oh, you got it. We're not going to beg you. Commander General Yahanna is not going to beg you. If you want to get up under this ark, humble yourself and come up under this ark. But that's on you. That's on you. These brothers right here sought to have their brother, their blood brother, destroyed, utterly destroyed by being sold into slavery to another people. Why? Because their brother was favored by their father, and he had two dreams of saying that they was going to be subservient to him. Two dreams. That's it. Keep going.
Come. Genesis chapter 37, verse 28. Then there passed by Midianites, merchant. Come. Verse 28. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt.
Man, there's something about, pieces of silver that people keep getting sold out for. They sold Christ out for 30 pieces of silver. And they sold Joseph for 20 pieces of silver. I wonder what they did with that blood money. It did not help them to keep them out of trouble when they reunited with Joseph once again. That 20 pieces of silver went fast. You sold your own brother for 20 pieces of silver? That's nothing. It shouldn't have been any amount of money in the world you would have sold. You know what? Commander General Yahanna was offered the quote unquote 20 pieces of silver. And when I say 20 pieces of silver, I'm talking about a suitcase full of money to sell out his brothers. Did you know that? How many people knew that? Commander General Yahanna was offered his 20 pieces, his 30 pieces of silver to sell out the I.S.U.P.K. in the form of a suitcase full of money. You know what he did?
It's so many words he told him to kick rocks.
He said so many words other than kick rocks. He told them bastards to get the hell out of his face, cursed them up and down, took the money and threw it back at them. Because absolutely, and this was at a time where Commanding General Yahanna was hurting bad. When I say hurting bad, he was not in the position he is in now. He was not in a position to open new schools. He was not in a position to fund certain trips. He was not in a position to send barrels down to Haiti. You know what I'm saying? And send barrels down to Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and Mexico to Acuna. He wasn't in a position to do that back then at that point in time. That money could have put him in a position to do stuff like that. But you know what? It was all wrong. It was all blood money. It was all slave money. And he knew it then. And he told them devils to basically kick rocks. Get the hell up out of my face. Get out of my face. Don't you ever come back. Anything that we can't say on YouTube and Facebook, he said it. Most High Christ, yeah. Anything that we can't say here, he said it to them devils face to face. He will not sell you out. So we owe it to ourselves not to sell him out. There was a time where I've heard. There was a time where I've heard, and Command General Hans actually brought this out. Quid pro quo, COINTELPRO, where they tried to send some agents in the IS trying to infiltrate the I.S.U.P.K. Come in here, and say that they're down for the cause, whatever, do whatever and that, this and that. And you know what happened? You know what happens to them COINTEL people? One of two things happens. Either they quit that organization that sent them, or they go back and tell that organization, like, hey, man, there's nothing to tell. You want guns? There's no guns. You want drugs? There is no drugs. You want prostitution? There is no prostitution. As a matter of fact, they're telling everybody not to do that stuff. That's all they do. Day and night. They counsel people that are on drugs to get them off of drugs. They counsel people who have been molested so that they don't go and harm themselves or harm somebody else. They give the disenfranchised a sense of purpose. And how do we do that? How do we do that? We tell them who they are, the thing that our oppressor has kept from us for centuries. We are the rightful heirs to this world, to this globe. Not just this world, because the world could be an age of society. I'm talking about this entire planet. This is ours. Now you tell somebody on crack that who thinks that they are nothing, that they are filth, and the only reason why they're doing crack is because they want to kill themselves. But they don't have the guts to just go ahead and do it right then and there. So they do it very slowly every time they hit that rock. You tell somebody like that they actually were something and they mean something, that they were important. It may take some time, but they're going to kick that habit. They're going to kick that habit. Why? Because they want to be rulers. They are heir. We are heir to this earth. We may be in slavery, just like Joseph was put in slavery. We may be in slavery right now. But once we wake up and start following the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments, the Most High will send Christ back and put this earth back in order, back in this place where we are on top. Blacks, Hispanics, and First Nations people are on top. And every single other nation is up under our foot. That's for a time. Because after a certain amount of time, there will be one nation that will not be a nation anymore. Only time we're going to hear about them or see about them is reading in a book, an encyclopedia, or walking into a museum. It's the only time we're going to see them. Let's keep reading. Did you have some? Salaki, did you have some? No. All right, let's keep reading.
Come. Genesis chapter 37, verse 29. And Reuben returned into the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. Verse 30. And he returned unto his brethren and said, the child is not, and I, whither shall I go? Verse 31. And they took Joseph's coat and killed the kid of the goats and dipped the coat in the blood. Verse 32.
So they're basically saying they're setting the stage up. They're setting the stage up, saying how Reuben didn't want to kill him. Reuben didn't want. He just wanted to leave him in the pit You just want to leave him in the pit. So when he left and came back and he saw he wasn't in the pit, he knew something else was going on. So he asked, what the hell is going on? What's the goings on? So they told him, right? So they came up with this plan. How they still had the coat. There was no question on this coat. The father Israel knew about this coat because he gave this particular coat to Joseph. So what they did was devise a plan, and they took the coat, ripped it up to make it look like it was in a tussle, it was in a fight, and dipped it in some sheep blood to make it look like it was actually his blood. And now they're going to go back to their father and tell him, hey, he got tangled up with some beasts, and when we found him, this was all that remained. I don't know if you actually know how wild beasts get down. When they get down, they get down. There is not like a half carcass or anything like that. There may be a stray bone. There may be some blood that's there. But when wolves, or I wouldn't even say wolves because wolves are a little, wolves will just kill you for nothing. Like, seriously. They're not even hungry and they'll just tear you apart. Bears, lions, jackals, hyenas. These beasts, when these beasts eat you, you're devoured. I remember I was walking home one time, and all I saw was a hoof, like a deer hoof. That was all that remained of this deer. And deer can be, and it looked like an adult deer because how big the hoof was. We're talking about 150, 200, 300, 200 some pounds for a deer. And all that remained was a hoof. And when they get down, it's no time for them to strip that carcass down. It takes them no time at all. So this plan, how they say, they're gonna rip up the coat and then dip it in some blood and then give it to their father. They can be like, well, that's all that remains. We can't even bury him because the animals got to him. The beasts of the field got to him. There is no evidence. There's nothing we can do about it. Keep going.
Come. Verse 32. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, this have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. Verse 33. And he knew it and said, it is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces.
So he knows how the way beasts of the field get down. There's no way he could have survived. There's no way. All his was left remained with his coat. There's no way that he could have survived. There's no way that we can go and view his remains because there are no remains. The only thing that remains is his coat. The only thing that remains is his coat. Right? Keep going.
Verse 34. And Jacob rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins and mourned for his son many days.
So just think of, how the way Israel gets down at funerals, we act just like this. All that stuff, the wailing and, all the renting of the clothes, all of that is biblical. A lot of people say, man, stop acting ghetto. That's biblical, what we do. Bet you didn't know that. The oppressors and all the other heathens, they have their traditions and their customs. They do whatever the hell they do. We mourn. We don't just, just sit there, let a single tear, drop down, and then, he was a good man. Nah, we screaming and crying. Oh! You know what I'm saying? The mother's screaming and crying and whatnot. The men was doing that as well. My baby. So like it. That's biblical. That's biblical. Crying and falling on the floor every time someone try to pick you up. You try and gather yourself, and then you see his body again. Oh, and then fall back down again. All that is biblical. That's what we do. It's not ghetto. It's biblical. Everything we do, we don't even know why we do it, but it's biblical. Certain things ain't biblical that we should have no parts of, and that's anything that's a part of this world, this society, this age and this society. We should have nothing to do with that. But in general, frying chicken, you know what I'm saying? That's biblical. Seasoning your food, that's biblical. You know what I'm saying? Cooking food till it's thoroughly cooked, that's biblical. It says we are supposed to cook our food till no blood runs through it. That's biblical. I had some oppressor tell me, why do black people always cook their food till it's burnt? Because we don't want to get sick and die, devil. Right. Man, it was this one restaurant that I used to slave right next door to. And I ordered a steak, and this goddamn devil was telling me, hey, I was like, hey, I want my steak well done, right? He was like, nah, you don't want it like that. Just make it, you should eat it rare. I'm like, nah, I don't want it rare. I don't want no blood coming through it, right? And this devil, he was going back and forth for like a good 5 minutes. I was like, nah, dude, cook it, right? So he was like, he finally, submitted, and then this goddamn devil went back and burned it. When I say burned it, I mean it was, and like I didn't know until like I left, till I left and I started eating. I'm like, what the, like you see how the way, like how, I don't know if anybody's ever worked in the kitchen before, but when you're working in the kitchen, there's a time where, especially with red meat, like a steak, you'll kind of slice it to see if it's ready. It was like 8-9 slices to see how burnt it was. And he burnt all the goddamn juices out of it. He was expecting me to come back and be like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have been like that. Nah, this nigga did that crap on purpose. When Christ come, I want that devil. I want that devil. And everything that he's going to eat is going to be goddamn burnt. He's not going to enjoy anything medium nothing. He's going to get some goddamn shoe leather. And I'm going to put some salt and pepper on it, and I'm going to sit there and be like, you better eat every last bit of it. Or I'm taking some skin off your back. I'm taking some skin off your back, and we're going to do this every day. All because you want to play silly like that. But like, as I was saying, everything that we do is biblical. Everything that we do is biblical. Especially up in the UPK. Right? You got something?
I was just going to say extra well done.
Extra.
But what he's going to eat every day, his oatmeal is going to be extra well done.
You see this? He's going to be eating something like this. This leather. That's what he's going to. I'll give him some sauce. I'll allow that. But that's it. Maybe just some ketchup. He ain't going to get no A1. But anyway. Let's keep reading.
Come. Genesis chapter 37, verse 35. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him.
Salaki, hold on. Just like what those traders did with Commander General Yahanna. They went around talking mad crap, talking mad stuff about Commander General Yahanna, saying how the way, he's over, he's finished, lying on him, straight up lying on Commander General Yahanna. Straight up lying on him, brother. Just the way these brothers did to their blood brother, those traitors did that same thing to Commander General Yahanna. Did the same thing, just straight up lied on him. They tried their best. After they tore apart the school, made this huge split, tore apart the school. They went and then they tried to ensure that that Commander General Yahanna would have nothing to raise up. They tried to take everything from him. They tried. They spread lies until this day. It's still spreading. There's people out there that learned up under Commander General Yahanna, and he was a brother to them, where he would give him his last. Paying brothers rents, giving stocking these brothers' house with food. Where Commander General Yahanna was sleeping in the school, and these brothers turn on him and try their damnedest to bury him. Tried their damnedest to sell him into Egypt, just like the way these brothers did. And they tried to break his spirit, but Commander General Yahanna's spirit just can't be broke. Can't be broke. I admire that. That is true leadership right there. That right there. If he, like I said, I just can't speak anymore. Too much. I can't speak enough good words to describe Commander General Yahanna. And then the new things that I hear, like it shouldn't surprise me, but it does, because all the things that I've heard about how people have tried to really destroy him, utterly destroy him, and he's still a brother. He's still a brother, and he does it. I've never ever heard him talk ill about any other brothers who did him dirty. Never heard any of that. Let's keep going, Salakia.
Come. Verse 35. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, for I will go down into the grave until my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. Verse 36. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and a captain of the guard.
All right, well, let's stop right there. But what you can do is you can read ahead and see how the way his two dreams came true. There was a Joseph had another dream. No. Joseph had another dream, and he told Pharaoh to start. You're going to have 7 years of excess. So put some of those grains away, and then 7 years following that, you're going to have a famine. You're going to have famine. So from the excess that you had saved away, you can still feed your people, right? Pharaoh listened to him. Pharaoh obeyed what he said. Unlike his brothers, just like I was saying to you earlier, you know what I'm saying? If you have a dream, keep it away from your friends and family, because they're going to poo-poo all over it. But if you tell it to somebody else, oftentimes they'll believe in you and push you to do that, right? Pharaoh believed his dream, right? Pharaoh believed what he had to say. So he stored away 7 years for grain for when famine came. Famine hit, and all the nations that were surrounding Egypt fell under the famine, which brings you to how Israel came to live in Egypt. Israel and the family, which was 70 souls, came into Egypt. They came into Egypt. There was famine. This is the only place that they could go to that had food, that was not feeling it. And you know what? Commander General Yahanna has told us years ago to start preparing for what's happening right now. Food prices being high as hell, right? So long story short, when they came into Egypt, they were introduced to this man Joseph, who was going by a different name. He came unto them, They begged and pleaded for him. He looked at them. He was like, y'all don't know who I am. Y'all must not know who I'm is. Right? And at that point, he could have been like, he could have been just as unbrotherly as his brothers was to him. Could have been, but he saved his family. He saved his family. He said, you know what? I'm not even holding that against you. Come on in. I'm gonna set you up with your own section of land. Your own section of land, and no one is going to bother you over here in Egypt. So much so that Israel grew so much that the Egyptians were afraid that they were going to take over. And then, they put them in captivity. But all of that happened because Joseph had Pharaoh's ear, and Pharaoh listened to him. He was so high in the Egyptian kingdom that Pharaoh did what he was one of Pharaoh's advisors. He was one of Pharaoh's advisors, and he set his family up to get through the famine and flourish afterwards. So at that point in time, the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars did bow down to Joseph. And that day they did bow down to him. And all the time they hated him for that dream. They hated him. And because of that dream, we were able to survive. We were able to survive. And because of that, all these other brothers that tried to do away with Commanding General Yahanna, they have left a legacy, of cowardice. They have left a legacy of just wickedness. Where can I start? You know what I'm saying? All because they hated how brotherly Commanding General Yahanna was, how brotherly Commanding General Yahanna is. They refused to humble themselves and come under his leadership, come under the umbrella of the I.S.U.P.K. Why? For a number of reasons. But they hated him then. They still hate him now. How do I know this? Because there are a bunch of different fake Israelite groups out there. They're doing more harm than they're doing any type of good. I read an article about one of these fake Israelite groups that the brother was there for like 15 years. They said he did something, and they didn't say he was kicked out, but they said he was shunned or something like that, and the brother wound up killing himself. That's the legacy of these fake Israelite groups. They leave a legacy of death. We leave a legacy of life. You know how many times I've heard of sisters who could not conceive coming into the truth, either them or their husbands coming to the truth, and then now they're having babies. That's the legacy of Commanding General Yahanna. That's the legacy of Commanding General Yahanna is people getting off of crack. Strippers who still want to be in that life, but then have a baby, and then they give that baby up. They give that baby up over to the priests and prophets. You know how many sisters out here that's willing to take babies? Whether they can have babies or not, they're still willing to take on. This is a brother in Texas. I didn't know this. This brother had 10 kids and like, hey, give me some more. That right there is a legacy of the Most High Christ Commander General Yahanna. That one body. That is one body. And that brother who has 10 kids and is taking in babies, he's not doing it by himself. He has a whole nation behind him. Right. A whole nation. This is not just a school. This is a family. And we're teaching our brothers and sisters who doesn't even know we're family on how to be family. And that's exactly what Joseph did. when Israel came in starving and homeless. That's exactly what Commander General Yahanna is doing when people are coming and starving and homeless, giving them what they need in order to survive until Christ comes back. And with that, I pass the class off to the priest and officer, Pagabiwa.
I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yahanna. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which a brother or sister will court each other. After the 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. It means 10th in Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation. The memorial blowing of trumpets, the first day of the 7th month, Sunday, the 25th of September, 2022. You can find this in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 24 and 25. Remind Akim and Akwathian to check on social media, such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K. events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, you should start wearing all black, which includes black boots, black shirts, black pants, black headband, or scarf. And with that, I say I.S.U.P.K. It's like the other one. Forgot to talk about the cookout.
Cookout is July 12th. It's like, hold on 1 second. Salakia. It's not July 12th.
21st.
21st through is 21st through the 24th. Check on the ISUPK.com website to get all the information and or your camp leader. I would just check on ISUPK.com to get all that information for the Midwest Fire Weekend in Chicago, Illinois.
Come. And with that, I say Amaja, which means to stand. Men of Israel, we give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Amaja Shabbat, Amaja, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yadim Matah, class dismissed.
Well, I'm doing a lecture about the Bible Belt and critical race theory. And it's July the 16th, and it's you know where I.S.U.P.K is out here? Yeah, it's like we got a school like right next door, and then the top floor we got that whole level up there. So that's why I'll be doing the lecture. And it's free. Like the first hour will be about the Bible Belt, then be like a little intermission, feeding people a little bit. Then I'll be breaking down the critical race theory. A lot of our people don't know what it is.
I'm Dr. Ashley Bachnight-Claybrook.
So we dealing with a doctor, right?
I have to say it. I don't know. I would say it has to help.
You got anything to back that up, or you just guessing?
I'm just guessing.
So sis, what is the Bible Belt to you?
The Bible Belt is a series of states that heavily focus on Christianity as a means of political and social foundations for everything they do.
Good, because you should always know where you come from. You should always know history. You should always know what it is and what it ain't, and why people act the way they act now.
The Bible Belt, do you feel that it hurts black people?
Kind of like get rid of the history, get rid of certain things that were done during slavery, or just certain things about our history in school and stuff like that.
It's cultural, it's environmental, and it's effective.
Okay, you say it's effective now?
It can be positive and it can be negative. It just depends on your standpoint.
preacher man, gotta wait your turn. Gotta get my brothers and sisters, they survive my only concern. This shit has gotta stop, they lock and pop everything they see. Behind a badge of police, they kill us with their knees. Nigga, please.
We look at systemic racism of, say, the school systems, the differences in the school systems, and looking at gentrification, looking at issues of textbooks, even as simple as textbooks, and how race plays a part in how people are selecting certain parts for different races depending on where they are. You throw in economics with that as well. All that is tied into, if you can show a pattern of systemic racism, that is critical race theory.
I say critical race theory, it needs to be taught in school. I think just to know what was done to us, because a lot of people don't know about slavery. They don't know what was done during their time.
I think it hurts because I think we should, know our culture and, not be racist, you know what I'm saying?
It's a psychodrama. Our minds, they wanna melt. We got it, take my nigga shit, burn that Bible belt. This is psychodrama. Our minds, they wanna melt. We got it, take my nigga shit, burn the Bible belt.